The Cook County Jail takes inmates with a history of violence to their court hearings under increased security. At least that's what the jail told CBS 2 in October.
And that they did. But records we've uncovered tell a much different story. Inmates with a track record of jail attacks are repeatedly transported with other inmates. That leads to fights, costing taxpayers a lot in medical bills and lawsuits. Suzanne Lemonniot investigates.
It's September 5th. 2018, at the Cook County Jail. Inmates wait to be bused to a suburban courthouse for hearings. As the bus drives down the highway, an inmate slips off his handcuffs and waist chain. He walks to the back, takes hold of the heavy lock and chain that once restrained him, and swings. But this inmate should never have been on this bus in the first place. His name is Javante Surratt, and it's a familiar one to many inside Cook County Jail. We first heard of Surratt in October when a CBS 2 investigation revealed he was among the inmates consistently escaping their restraints on jail transport buses and using them as weapons. At the time, the sheriff's office told us guards use alternative security movement protocols for inmates like Surratt, including transporting them alone without other inmates. But we've since discovered some inmates with histories of violence are never classified as high-risk movements, a designation that would require those alternative protocols. Javante Surratt started getting into fights just a month after being locked up on a burglary charge. We obtained this surveillance video of one of his first incidents in May of 2017. He's taking part in an attack on an unsuspecting inmate. A month later, throwing urine on a fellow prisoner. The following month, 3 more attacks. In one case, guards scramble after he knocks his victim unconscious. Then a year into his time at Cook County Jail, guards put Surratt on a bus with as many as 50 other inmates. He escaped his handcuffs and threatened to use them as a weapon. Surratt went on to escape his restraints 3 more times, yet the jail decided time and time again he was not dangerous enough to be classified as a high-risk movement. And he isn't the only one. CBS 2 analyzed 5 years of jail data. We identified at least 18 inmates who were involved in multiple fights in the jail, but still taken back and forth to court appearances surrounded by other inmates. Every one of those trips ended in violence. In one case, an inmate who'd been in 17 previous fights ended up on a crowded bus. That time, he put a fellow inmate in the ER. Kimani Cage was attacked by one of those inmates on a bus back from court last August.
And that was the first time I ever got, jumped on like that, and couldn't even do nothing. Be bust my head open, all type of stuff for the lock.
Tell me the extent of your injuries.
Lip busted, gash, scars on my hands from trying to break out the handcuffs to defend myself.
And it's taxpayers who foot the bill for those wounds. Last year, the Cook County Jail spent nearly $90 million on medical care for inmates. We asked how much of that involved injuries from fights during transport. The sheriff's office told us they don't track that. What they do track is how much they spend taking inmates to court.
Thank you.
In 2017, they proposed switching to video conferencing for routine status hearings. They argued that would save Cook County taxpayers more than $2.5 million every year.
The manpower is unbelievable for that short 20-second court appearance.
Former prosecutor and CBS 2 legal analyst Irv Miller says Cook County used to use video conferencing for bond hearings.
There was no problem with it. I had many cases where that was done, and the inmate was able to see the judge was able to see the inmate.
In fact, video conferencing is common practice for bond hearings in Lake, DuPage, and Kane counties. So what happened to the proposal to do the same thing in Cook County?
It is unconstitutional and a violation of the 6th Amendment.
That's Cook County Public Defender Amy Campanelli arguing against the idea at a 2017 budget meeting.
The victim could be in court in the seats. The police could be in court. The victim's family. Perhaps the client's family is there, but no client is standing before the judge. The client is on a screen. The most important thing is the client wants to be in court. The client has a right to be in court every court date. There is no court date that is not important for a client.
That budget meeting where Campanelli spoke is one of 3 times the sheriff's office has documented requests to switch to video conferencing. The practice was stopped in Cook County in 2008.
So you say video conferencing, that's really not the issue. The issue is security?
Exactly. Security on the bus.
Campanelli's message to the sheriff?
Fix the restraints. Get better restraints. Get better training for the sheriffs. I'm not here to tell the sheriff how to do his job. But why is he pointing the finger at the court system when his only job is to transport the clients?
Ultimately, it's up to the chief judge in Cook County if video conferencing will take place. And like Campanelli, his office told us the solution to inmates escaping their restraints is improved security. At the same time, his office did say they expect video hearings to be discussed in the near future. Meantime, the Cook County Jail retrained officers on the proper use of restraints after our first report. And as for Javante Surratt, the sheriff's office tells us he's now transported under high-risk movement protocols since we started asking questions. In the newsroom, Suzanne Lemignot, CBS 2 News.